So Peter Matthews. Peter, I suppose the million-dollar question that both sides will be asking is how much damage Harris can do to Donald Trump.
It would be very interesting if she had to debate Donald Trump, but she'll be debating Mike Pence generally. And the damage can come during the campaign itself when she decides to prosecute some of the things that he's failed at on his side. And she's been very effective. You've seen her in the Senate prosecuting people like Jeff Sessions and others and interrogating them. So I think this can be a very strong candidacy here for the ticket.
Politically, where does she stand exactly? Because we do have this debate amongst members of the Democratic Party, people who are naturally say that they have a certain allegiance to that party, that the party isn't moving enough to the left.
Yes, and many of the voters have moved to the left on the Democratic side as well. And you saw that with Bernie Sanders' strong showing. But she has done interesting things. She and Biden, they've moved to the left themselves on key issues. For example, the Green New Deal. She supported that earlier when she was in the Senate, but Biden has said he supports it, and he's going a little further in terms of making the jobs program as well. So Bernie and Biden got together and put together that platform, and Kamala Harris is 100% with it. And on issues of criminal justice reform, she's also willing to move forward on policing the police. She's moving forward on climate change, not just climate change, but also on jobs and health care. She was for Medicare for all, single payer. Now she's for public option, slightly more to the middle, but on the other hand, it's still a progressive position. So you see them moving toward the left to accommodate their base supporters, for sure.
And will there be progressives who will be looking to her to change Biden's mind or make him moderate some of his ideas, which would satisfy the progressives a little bit more? Are there specific issues which you think she can influence Biden on?
Yes, in fact, Biden has already changed his position more to the left on the issue, for example, of tuition-free college, and both of them support tuition-free college for about 90% of the American people or their children, and that's a pretty big accomplishment. It's closer to Bernie's position. So I do believe they've already moved on certain key issues, like I said, climate, jobs, investment in jobs, and tax cuts. She's going to repeal, and she wants to repeal, along with Biden, the Trump tax cuts from the wealthy mostly. So those things have already showed that they moved to the left.
Now, what about her ethnicity? Will it bring more black voters out to vote for the Democratic Party? It's believed, it's shown, isn't it, that in 2016, for the first time in a long time, there was a downturn in the number of African Americans who actually bothered to come to the ballot box, and that could well have been one of the reasons that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton.
There was a 4 million vote drop-off among the African American vote when Hillary Clinton was running as candidate. This will turn around considerably because Ms. Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, has the dual ethnicity of being South Asian Indian, which, and by the way, her mother is born in the same city as I was born. I was 10 years old when my parents immigrated in Chennai, India. And she had a lot of Indian culture as well growing up, but also she's African American, obviously from at least Black American, she calls herself. Her dad's Jamaican roots. And that's a remarkable combination of multi-ethnicity, which will draw on a lot of voters of color for that purpose, but also for the issues and being the first woman of color in a major ticket, and being the next possible potential presidential nominee in the next 4 years from now. It's remarkable, the whole situation as it's turned out.
Peter, given the novelty of her situation, of course, as we've been saying, first South Asian woman, first African American woman to be nominated to this position, and also given the fact that Joe Biden has a certain issue, shall we say, in terms of when he appears in public, there's been a lot made about the fact that he appears to increasingly be having some sort of difficulties in the way he's communicating his message. When he's reading from an auto cue, he looks safe enough. When the auto cue is taken away from him, he does appear to be encountering some sort of difficulties. And Kamala Harris, being younger, being more of a firebrand, could that thrust her more into the spotlight of this campaign than any previous vice presidential candidate?
Absolutely, because she is the younger of the two candidates. She's quite vigorous in her campaign style, quite charismatic, and that's going to play a big role, and she'll have much of the camera on her. But I think Joe Biden was always not the most smooth speaker, but he seems to come from the heart for a lot of voters. They believe he's a man of the people. He's a working-class blue-collar child when he grew up. And so Biden's approach to the teleprompter versus his own speech, that shouldn't get in the way too much in this campaign, I don't think. And don't forget, there's a huge amount of anti-Trump sentiment among the voters. President Trump's approval rating has never cracked 50%. It's way down in the low 40s or upper 30s. That's very difficult to beat for him to win with that kind of approval rating. And that'll also help.
Peter, we always appreciate the analysis. Thank you so much indeed. Peter Matthews in Los Angeles.